my God, it's full of stars.
Hi, this is a video about Stanley Kubrick and the Flat Earth Theory. If you are not familiar with both Stanley Kubrick and the Flat Earth Theory, this is not the video for you. So go play Pokemon Go, whatever you do. Anyway, if you do know about both these things, you might find this interesting. Let's begin at the beginning here. This man right here is Tycho Brahe. He was the first person that could prove we don't live on a globe. He was murdered by Johannes Kepler. He was poisoned with mercury. His research was stolen by this man, and it was used to create the first Gregorian calendar with leap year. Why is this important, and what does it have to do with Stanley Kubrick? Well, Kubrick gives you both these men in his movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. He gives you the Tycho magnetic anomaly, which is where the monolith is found. A monolith is a large, flat stone. So this is the crater on the moon, named after Tycho Brahe, the man who could prove that we don't live on a globe. That's the crater he chooses to have the monolith found in. So that's interesting. Then we have, it's also the largest crater on the moon, by the way. It's always Jungian archetypes with Kubrick. Always the biggest, the largest, the fastest, whatever. This man stole this man's, Tycho's, research, and he created the first Gregorian calendar. From that point on, it was a globe. So in 1582, we had the Mercator projection. It has not changed since then. So that's very odd. So he gives you these two men. These are like the flat Earth nucleus of the whole flat Earth conspiracy theory. These two men are at the direct center of it, and he chooses to include the Clavius moon base, which is named after this guy, which was also located in the Clavius crater named for this guy. And in 2001: A Space Odyssey, he actually mentions the IEU, or IAU, International Astronomical Union. And one of the women talks about, we're going to go to the big international blah, 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 IAU pavilion. Do you want to go, Dr. Floyd? And he refuses. He's too busy. But this is the union that names these craters, the Clavius crater and the Tycho crater. So it was interesting he mentions that as well. So let's go beyond that. So you have the two people most involved with the Flat Earth theory. Then we go right to 2001: A Space Odyssey. And this picture right here is a picture of Dave Bowman and Frank Poole working on the AE-35 unit. This is the unit that Hal says is failing. Well, the AE-35 unit in reality is actually a real gyro, because here's a picture of a real gyro right next to it, and the similarities are uncanny. It's clearly a gyro. It's the gyro that controls the parabolic antenna on the Discovery spacecraft. It keeps it oriented toward Earth. So Hal says the gyro is failing. These guys test it. They can't find anything wrong with it. It's great allegorically, because when we do the gyro tests to prove the rotation on Earth, the gyro never rotates. So it looks like there's something wrong with the gyro. but there's nothing wrong with the gyro. We don't rotate, so this is very clever. That's another little Kubrickian breadcrumb. So there's the AE35 unit. Nothing wrong with it, but it doesn't work. Same thing. This is a real jet plane gyro, believe it or not. Let's go to the tides. Here we have Clockwork Orange, and Clockwork Orange, we have little Alex. He gets out of the Ludovico clinic, and he's walking down, I think this is the Thames, I don't really know, it's somewhere in England. And he's walking down here, and he looks at one of the bridge pillars, and the scene cuts a split second later, the tide has dropped 10 feet. So you could say, well, it's a continuity error, but we're talking about Kubrick here. There's no such thing as a continuity error. Then we have, here's the prisoners walking in a circle, east to west, with a large pyramid over them. Isn't that interesting? Not that that's related to flat Earth, but I thought that was interesting. Then we have the we have the Mercator projection and Dr. Strangelove. It's all over the wall. The big board. They'll get a look at the big board. So we have that. Then we have the bathrooms. Well, let me not start the bathrooms yet. Let's go into this one real quick. This is a picture of Moon Watcher, is his name, by the way, and he's beating this animal. Now, in the movie, they lead you to believe that this is a tapir, a type of pig that he's beating. In reality, this is actually a horse skeleton. This is a horse head here. You can look this up online. It's actually a horse head. So he's beating the dead horse. It's very clever. Then we have the fish eyes, NASA's go-to lens. When Felix Baumgarten did his, stupid balloon thing there, the first thing they did is pulled out the fish eye to give you the globular look. So Kubrick wanted a way to hide this in his movie. So what he did is he used a fish eye in every scene in this movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey. Some of them are so subtle you don't even notice them. Like this one here, he had the camera destructively modified to mount this ridiculous fisheye lens on here. So he's giving you lots of different ways he's communicating the fisheye story. This is just one of them, and the whole movie is a fisheye. Look, next time you watch it, look at straight objects when they're in the spaceship. You'll notice they all have a little curve to them because of the fisheye. Here's another one. This is a really good one. This is Frank Poole and Dave Bowman. Bowman is an archer, just like Apollo the archer, and Poole is where they film all the NASA stuff in the swimming pool. So they're testing the AE35 gyroscope, which is not failing, and Hal is watching them through the fisheye. Very clever. Then we have the Minotaur picture. I like to call it. Kubrick loves to use Greek allegorical. It is the 2001: A Space Odyssey. So we're talking about Greek odysseys here. So you look at this. The Greek Odyssey that comes to mind immediately when I see this is the Minotaur. We have half man, half bull. And of course it's all viewed through the fish eye. This scene is actually repeated again. We see the same kind of bull thing. He's giving you the Minotaur allegory and Theseus and the magic thread and the Corona Borealis. Let's go to, okay, so here's the azimuthal equidistant map. This is the AE35 unit, what it was named after. This is where you really live. This white snow that you see surrounding you is represented by the laurel in the UN map. There's a big laurel wreath that goes around here. Coincidentally, Apollo also has a laurel wreath. I'm sure that's not related, but it is there. So we couldn't leave, we had the gyro, we've got Tycho, we've got Clavius, but we're missing Coriolis. So what Kubrick does is he includes a bathroom in every movie he does, and all the quintessential scenes happen in the bathroom. So let's go through a few of these. Oh, there's the UN map with the laurel. Let's go to this one. Here we go. There's the bathroom scene with the old lady. There's the bathroom scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey. He's sitting on the tub, right where you would notice the Coriolis effect if you drained it. If the bathroom's in a photo metal jacket, this guy goes into his bathroom. This is his bathroom door right here. And he blows his brains out in the bathroom. He was talking about fluoride and fluoridated ice cream. So, isn't that interesting? Then we have the room 237 bathroom with the attractive woman that's in it. And also we have, we've got the tub for Coriolis, the two sinks for Coriolis, and there's a toilet bidet over here. So it's really the full Monty for Coriolis right there. Let's close that one. Let's close this one. Analyze. Then we have Ziegler in his bathroom with his whore, and a redhead no less. Redhead's a recluse set. We have the bidet and toilet, and right here out of the scene in this area is his huge tub. So this is actually his bathroom. It's not his bedroom. It's his bathroom. So we have another bathroom there. And we have, a pile blows his head off in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet. That's pretty good. So we have the ballistic Coriolis effect with the rifle and the Coriolis toilet, and he says, I'm in a world of shit. So you really are in a world of shit. Here is Barry Lyndon. We have Mrs. Lyndon in the bathtub. She's going to drain it. It's going to spin the right way for the Coriolis effect. Then we have Nicole on the crapper here and eyes wide shut. We've got the sink, the toilet, the bathtub. Bada bing. There you go. We've got, there's this pile. He's had enough of Coriolis, I think. Here's, this is a good one. This is Dr. Floyd in the zero-G toilet. You can't even read it probably, but he's at the space station and he really has to take a crap. So he's reading the thing for the zero-G toilet, but there's like 14 steps. He ends up holding it. He goes later on because the Coriolis in the spinning space station would probably throw the shit in every direction. So, there's the TMA-1 Tychomagnetic Anomaly. It's a movie theater, by the way. These are movie ramps that go down and watch the screen. Danny, of course, shines in the bathroom when he's looking at the mirror with his 42 jersey. 42 is 6 out of 7 continents are real. The 7th continent is the laurel wreath that surrounds you. And so they're always grabbing their balls. It's always about the ball. You got 8 balls, snowball fights. It goes on and on. Here we have little Alex taking his bath. I'm sure this strains the Coriolis direction. I'm sure of that. And the whole thing has really been controlled by secret societies since God knows when, since more than 500 years ago. So there's the zero-G toilet thing. This is interesting. We actually see real parallax out the window of the space station as it rotates, which is weird because we don't see real parallax in the night sky. Yeah, he's telling him, you ever wonder why I drink pure grain alcohol? And because there's no fluoride in it. Jack.
All right, One-Eye Jack's here. I just wanted to do a quick summary. I put the new part of the video on the front of it, and I did a compilation of all the One-Eye Jack clues, and I also included video 1 in this, which I think is a good thing because so many people are jumping in on this series at like video 25 and 30, and they have no idea what's going on. So I included that, and getting better at editing the video, and it's a learning process. So let's do a summary here. We have the gyroscope in 2001. That's a flat Earth proof. We don't rotate. You have the Coriolis toilets. You have the Coriolis effect with Pyle's rifle. You have the Coriolis toilet. He sits down when he blows his head off. There's a million toilet Coriolis Pyle jokes in the language. You have Tycho Brahe, the man that can prove that the stars show no parallax change over vast amounts of time. And then you have the Clavius base in 2001. This is the man that creates the first Gregorian calendar based on the heliocentric model. So, those are the two nucleus people of the flat Earth theory, are Tycho and Clavius. You have the Donners go to the salt flats, the flooded salt flats. The flooded salt flats are where we see these impossible reflections that are 50 and 60 miles long, and they show no concavity or no curvature whatsoever, none. It's totally flat. The reflection off the clouds is a perfect mirror of the clouds themselves, which is another flat Earth proof. So you have the mirrored lake painting in The Shining. It's shown about 25 times. You have the mirrored mountain shot from the helicopter as they're flying up on the Sidewinder footage. You have literally hundreds of one-point perspective shots that Kubrick does throughout his entire career. And then he uses front screen projection for the Apollo fakery, which is when you look at the Apollo fakery, the way you can prove that they use front screen projection is the projected backgrounds show no real parallax change. So I find it ironic that the actual fakery that's used in the Apollo emissions themselves, front screen projection, can be busted by proving that there's no parallax change. So when we look at the night sky and we look back 3,000 years and find out that it looked identical to how it looks now, you immediately know that there's no real parallax change because the Earth is moving constantly. The sun is moving, according to the official model, we are zooming through the freaking galaxy like a bullet, and yet the positions of the stars never change, and their positions relative to each other never change. And that's impossible. Parallax doesn't work that way. If you have objects at varying distances from you and you change your position, the rate at which they'll change from your perspective, it will vary, and it never does. So we don't live in a ball. And that's it. And I'm having a lot of fun with the new software. And I hope you guys like the beginning part, the One-Eye Jack segment. I may edit that down. That might become one of the intros for the show. And I'm going to stick the rest of the stuff I'm going to stick on the end of this video. You don't have to watch. It's just stuff that I worked on to make this video happen. And that's it. Have a great day, guys. Carpe diem. And, oh, by the way, I wanted to thank all the new subscribers. I've almost to 200 now. So 200 is the barrier. We got to do it, baby. 200. And if you liked the video and you found it entertaining or you learned something or whatever, thumb it up because, this is a pretty niche subject. And... but there are a lot of shiners out there. And shine on, you crazy diamonds. Later.
One-Eye Jack's here. Just wanted to give a progress report on the studio. Had a really good, well, I wouldn't say really good, but I had a really busy last week trying to get all this stuff working. And for the most part, kicked ass. So here it is. Here we go. We got the audio workstation built on the old workstation. This is all on SSD drives now. And check this out, so we can right over here. We got the looms, baby. And then, yeah, fast forward. So this is awesome now. The PC is much faster. It's, it's legitimate. It's not a piece of crap. And then we got the video workstation. We got the desk's been refinished. Got the printer fixed. And I got to do something with the speakers. They're not really that great. But we got the video editing workstation here. And there you go. This is the video you're watching. I'm working on it right now.
My God, it's full of stars.
So that is cool. I love this software. I love the PowerLink Director 15. I'm loving it. I'm not loving the new Adobe software. It's, in a word, obtuse. Just to do the most simple things. It's 40 mouse clicks now, and you're into 13 menus. It can do things that are pretty powerful at the same time. I've done a couple things with it that I couldn't do with the old one. But I'm finding just to do a simple thing that took me seconds with the old Photoshop is now taking much longer. It wants to hide things from you. It wants to save files without you really knowing where they are. And I'm not loving that. And it's the licensing is intrusive. They get your email. You have to send a key to them. And it's like, so not liking the Adobe 17 or whatever the hell. That's the newest one. And I'm not liking Windows 10 at all. Oh my God. I could write a book already. They need to work on it. There's bugs in it, It's fast, but then again, it would be fast on this machine anyway. But for video editing, this is a really good setup. It's a Ryzen 7. Anybody out there looking to get into this? This is about as cheap as you can do it. You build your own Ryzen 7. And I put a $99 video card in it, so you don't need to spend a lot of money. If you want to build this on the cheap, you could do it a lot cheaper than I did. I don't necessarily think you'd want to do that though. You really have to have SSD drives, and you got to go. You can't get cheaper than a $99 video card. So, and the performance of it has been exceptional. Even rendering is amazingly fast. And yeah, Daddy, we are rendering now. We are rendering the video, the first video. This is awesome. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. The next one will be better because with this one, I mean, I changed PCs, I changed operating systems, I changed from a different version of Adobe. I learned, or trying to learn, video editing, and built 2 PCs. So it was a hell of a lot of work, and unfortunately a lot of that doesn't show up on the video yet, but it will. And have a great day. Carpe diem. So here's the old, this is pretty ghetto right here, this system. This is the old audio recording system. And we have a case that was not made for this motherboard. And we had the standoffs have been hand drilled where they needed to be, and just used like standoffs from a connector to mount it on here. And this is the on-off switch because it's not the right model case for it, and you can't remove this or you can't turn it on and off. And it also has your USB ports and your sound ports. So, you know, that's pretty cool there. You know, you get your flexible on-off. Ooh. And then you got the cooler is not for this model either. That's actually for a model that produces a lot more heat. So this works really good. But you know, I just use little threaded rods to mount it straight through into the metal base. So it can move. You know, it does have it does have a little flexibility there. And you don't want it to move too much because then it hits the fan blades and then it makes noise. And then you have the power supply. This is really ghetto right here. The wiring, it was the incorrect power supply for this motherboard, so I got the specifications for it and rewired the plug and also extended it, so because it was only like that long. So I had to extend it and rewire it, so it got soldered and taped on both ends. You know, it's a two-way deal here. And then so that's the power supply. It doesn't have a name on it. It's just a Chinese power supply. I don't even know who made it. And then we have 2 drives. The drives aren't bad. Well, the bottom drive isn't bad. It's a 160 and the top one's an 80. This is a very slow drive. So this was the problem, the bottleneck in the machine. And I think here's all the specs on it. It's a Pentium 4, 2.8 gigahertz, 800 megahertz frontside bus. But it's a Dell. It's basically a Dell E310. I don't even know what that machine looks like, but. And the way I got the motherboard was they shipped me this motherboard incorrectly when I built the machine. That's the new audio workstation. And I called them up and I said, oh, you want me to mail it back? And they're like, no, you can just keep it. So it was like a $39 motherboard or something like that when I bought it. But it's worked great, and fortunately and unfortunately it died. When I migrated thank God, I migrated all the song data off it. And then I was messing around trying to use it to ghost and clone a drive. And something happened with the master boot record, because it turns out when this machine was built, I built it with Windows XP with both drives attached when I built it. So it puts different files on both drives. So you can't remove one drive. So when I removed the first drive to do a drive clone, something changed in the master boot record. Now it won't even boot, but the data's still on the disk, so I can still boot off a USB CD-ROM drive, and I can see the data on both disks. So I'm going to get some more of the data off, and then I think I'm going to try to convert into a dedicated drive clone machine. So if I want to clone a drive, I just turn this thing on, clone the drive, and bada bing. And that's it, guys. Have a great day.